My chosen one, stop for a moment and breathe, because what I am about to reveal cannot wait any longer. God says, I'm tired of trying to talk to you. Yes, you heard that correctly. Not because he hates you, not because he has abandoned you, but because he hath been whispering, nudging, warning, and protecting you again and again, and you keep mistaking his voice for coincidence. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, before 11:59 p.m. This message is not random. It is a motivational speech. It is not entertainment. It is an interruption from heaven. And if you are listening right now, it means you were meant to hear this before it vanishes in seconds. For months, maybe even years, God has been trying to reach you in subtle ways. Through dreams you ignored, through repeated numbers you brushed off, through sudden feelings that something was off, through doors that closed unexpectedly, through people who left without explanation, and through the quiet voice of the Holy Spirit saying, pause. Don't go there. Call that person. Pray now. But you kept scrolling. You kept delaying. You kept saying, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Heaven is saying, tomorrow is not promised in the way you think. Archangel Michael stands near you right now, not with fear, but with urgency. His presence is not to frighten you. It is to guard you. There is spiritual movement happening around your life that you cannot see with your physical eyes. And tonight is a turning point. You have been walking on the edge of a decision that will either shift your destiny upward or delay your blessing for years. God is not tired of loving you. He is tired of being ignored. There is a difference. When he says, I'm tired of trying to talk to you, it is the cry of a father who has knocked on the door of your heart so many times that his knuckles are bruised with mercy. You asked for a sign. You begged for clarity. You prayed for confirmation. And now that confirmation is here, you are tempted to treat it like just another video. Don't. Because something is aligning tonight. Something is being exposed. Something is being revealed. And if you are spiritually awake, you will sense it. You may suddenly receive a message. You may have a confrontation. You may see the truth about someone you trusted. You may feel an overwhelming conviction in your spirit. It will feel shocking, but it will not be accidental. God is allowing a moment of disruption so that your life does not collapse later. You see, he tried to warn you gently. He tried to redirect you softly. He tried to correct you privately. But you resisted the whispers. So now, heaven must speak louder. This is not about punishment. This is protection. Archangel Michael has been assigned to shield you from something you do not fully understand. There has been unseen warfare over your calling. There has been jealousy around your growth. There has been manipulation near your peace. And you sensed it. You felt drained around certain people. You questioned your own intuition. You ignored red flags because you did not want conflict. But tonight, something will shift. Before 11:59 p.m., there will be a moment that makes you pause and say, now I understand. It may be subtle. It may be dramatic. But it will be clear. And when it happens, remember this. It is not chaos. It is clarity. God is separating you from what cannot go where you are going. You have been asking for elevation. You have been praying for breakthrough. You have been crying out for new beginnings. But elevation requires separation. Breakthrough requires exposure. New beginnings require endings. And sometimes, the most loving thing God can do is remove what you refuse to release. You are standing at a spiritual crossroad. One path leads to distraction, delay, and emotional exhaustion. The other leads to discipline, alignment, and divine acceleration. He is tired of repeating himself, not because he is done with you, but because he knows you are ready for more. There is something inside you that already knows this message is true. That uneasy feeling in your chest, that is not anxiety, that is awakening. You have been playing small. You have been tolerating less. You have been shrinking your standards, and heaven is done watching you settle. Tonight is about exposure, not to shame you, but to free you. Archangel Michael's energy is protective, strong, decisive. He does not hesitate, and this is your moment to stop hesitating too. If there is a habit you were warned about, confront it. If there is a relationship that feels toxic, evaluate it. If there is a calling you have been avoiding, answer it. Because the shock that is coming is not meant to break you. It is meant to wake you. And here is the part that makes this urgent. This window of clarity will not stay open long. You will have a brief moment, a conversation, a realization, a dream, a sudden truth, and how you respond will determine the next 6 months of your life. God is not shouting to scare you. He is raising his voice so you can finally hear. Before tonight ends, you will understand why this message found you. Do not dismiss it. Do not postpone reflection. Do not silence your inner knowing. This is your divine interruption. And if you are still here listening, it means your spirit recognizes that this is not coincidence. The clock is moving. Heaven is watching. Protection is active. Prepare your heart. Beloved soul, something shifted the moment you chose to keep listening. That was not an accident. That was alignment. You could have scrolled away. You could have dismissed this as exaggeration. But instead you stayed. And that decision alone tells heaven that you are ready to hear what comes next. God is not tired because he is impatient. He is tired because he has repeated the same instruction to you in different forms, through different seasons, and you keep asking for a new answer when the old one still stands. Think carefully. What is the one area of your life where you keep saying, I know I need to change this, but you delay? That is where this message is pointing. Tonight is not random. There is a spiritual checkpoint before 11:59 p.m. It is a line drawn in the unseen realm. On one side is continued confusion. On the other side is clarity that may initially feel uncomfortable but will ultimately set you free. God has been nudging you about a specific decision. You have felt it during quiet nights. You have sensed it during moments of frustration. You have even heard it in your own thoughts when everything around you was silent. Yet you kept negotiating. You told yourself you needed more time, more proof, more reassurance. But heaven is saying that the proof has already been given. The reassurance has already been shown. The delay is no longer protection. It has become disobedience. Archangel Michael stands as a warrior of truth, not just protection. His presence near you is about cutting through illusions. There had been fog around your judgment. There has been emotional attachment clouding your wisdom. There has been comfort in what is familiar, even if what is familiar is slowly draining you. Tonight, something will pierce that fog. It might be a conversation that reveals someone's true intention. It might be a sudden realization about your own behavior. It might be an unexpected cancellation, delay, or shift that forces you to see what you were avoiding. When it happens, do not panic. Do not react emotionally. Observe. Discern. Pray. Because this is the answer you asked for. You once prayed, God, remove anything that is not from you. Be careful what you pray. When removal begins, it rarely feels gentle. It feels shocking. It feels disruptive. It feels sudden. But it is mercy in motion. The reason this must happen before 11:59 p.m. is symbolic. It represents a closing cycle. Midnight is not just a time. It is a transition. And you cannot step into a new day while clinging to yesterday's chains. Heaven is accelerating what you have been postponing. There is also something else you must understand. The enemy of your purpose thrives on delay. Not destruction, delay. Because if you are delayed long enough, you start doubting yourself. You start shrinking your vision. You start accepting less than what was promised to you. And that is what Archangel Michael has been guarding you against. You are called for more than survival. You are called for impact. But impact requires courage. And courage requires a moment where comfort is disrupted. This is that moment. If this message is resonating deep within you, if you feel a stirring you cannot explain, then do not keep this to yourself. Share this with someone who needs to wake up spiritually. Like this video so that it reaches those who are standing at their own crossroads tonight. Comment what you are feeling, because your testimony could be the confirmation someone else is praying for. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this spiritual movement, because messages like this are not entertainment, they are assignments. And if your heart is ready to go deeper, join the membership and stand with us as we continue spreading God's urgent voice to the world. Something powerful is building, and you are not here by chance. As the hours move closer to midnight, pay attention to your emotions. If you feel restless, that is revelation approaching. If you feel uneasy, that is truth knocking. If you feel suddenly clear-minded, that is confirmation arriving. But here is what most people will do. They will ignore the sign one more time. They will rationalize it. They will say it is coincidence. And then months later, they will look back and say, I knew it. I felt it. Do not let that be your story. When the shocking moment arrives tonight, respond with maturity, not impulse. Listen more than you speak. Pray before you react. Ask God, what are you showing me? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Because this is not happening to you. It is happening for you. And what comes next will test whether you truly trust God's voice or only seek it when it comforts you. There is more you must understand about what is being exposed and why the timing is critical. What you are about to hear will connect every strange event of the past few months into one clear picture. Hold your focus, because the next revelation will make everything make sense. Faithful one, what you are about to understand now will connect the hidden pieces of your recent struggles into one undeniable truth. The reason God says, I'm tired of trying to talk to you, is because He has already shown you the pattern. You simply did not want to see it. The delays, the strange tension in certain relationships, the sudden mood shifts, the closed doors that made no sense at the time, they were not random disruptions. They were divine signals. There has been a repeating cycle in your life. A cycle of warning, hesitation, consequence, recovery, and then the same warning again. Heaven does not operate in confusion. When something repeats, it is because a lesson remains unlearned. And tonight is about breaking that repetition. Archangel Michael has not only been guarding you from external harm, he has been standing at the edge of your decisions, urging you forward when fear tried to hold you back. But there is only so long protection can delay what you refuse to confront. The shocking event approaching before 11:59 p.m. is not meant to scare you. It is meant to finalize what has been lingering unresolved. You already know the area this concerns. It is that quiet discomfort you feel when you think about a specific person, habit, environment, or compromise. You convinced yourself it was manageable. You told yourself you were strong enough to handle it. But deep inside, you knew it was slowly misaligning you. God tried to whisper. He sent you signs in subtle ways. A scripture that stood out unexpectedly. A sermon that felt too personal. A dream that disturbed your peace. A friend who casually said something that hit deeper than they realized. Those were not coincidences. They were invitations. When invitations are ignored, interventions follow. And this is where the urgency becomes real. Something will be revealed tonight that confirms what you have suspected for a long time. It may be information that surfaces suddenly. It may be a truth spoken that cannot be taken back. It may be an emotional reaction that exposes what has been hidden beneath the surface. When it happens, it will feel like a spotlight turning on in a dark room. Do not resist it. The reason God sounds firm is because your destiny cannot afford another delay. You have prayed for acceleration. You have asked for open doors. You have begged for expansion. But acceleration requires alignment. And alignment demands honesty. There has been an internal conflict within you. One side desires growth, discipline, and purpose. The other side clings to comfort, familiarity, and emotional security. The tension has been draining your energy. That is why you have felt tired even when you have not done much physically. It is spiritual exhaustion from resisting truth. Archangel Michael's presence signifies strength. Strength to cut ties when necessary. Strength to walk away with dignity. Strength to choose long-term blessing over short-term comfort. Tonight, that strength will be activated within you. This is not about losing something. It is about gaining clarity. When midnight approaches, pay attention to what shifts inside you. You may feel a sudden peace about a decision you have been afraid to make. You may feel boldness to speak what you have been suppressing. You may feel a release from anxiety you have carried for months. That release is confirmation that heaven has stepped in. God is not abandoning you. He is advancing you. But advancement feels uncomfortable before it feels victorious. If this message is striking your spirit, do not stay silent. Type "I am ready for truth" in the comments if this is speaking directly to you. Blessing code 4499 has just been released over your life. When you declare readiness for truth, you invite clarity to remain instead of vanish. And now, hear this carefully. As this revelation unfolds and as cycles break, you are not only receiving protection, you are being positioned as a light for others. When God exposes something in your life, it is not only for your freedom, it becomes a testimony for someone else's breakthrough. The word declares, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it." This is not a distant verse. It is a living promise spoken over you right now. If this channel has been a vessel through which God reaches you, then do not treat this moment lightly. When you sow into the spreading of His voice, you are not supporting a platform. You are fueling a harvest of awakened souls. Every super thanks, every membership, every seed sown through the PayPal link in the description becomes oil in the lamp that keeps this light burning. I hear the Spirit saying, "As you pour, I will pour back into you." This is your moment of prophetic partnership. Do not hesitate when heaven prompts you. Act now. Strengthen the mission. Ignite the fire. Let your giving become a declaration that you stand on the side of truth and awakening. There is still more that must be uncovered about what this night carries and how your response will echo into the coming days. The surface has only been touched. and what lies beneath will explain why this urgency could not wait. Chosen vessel, lean in closely now, because what unfolds next is not just about tonight. It is about the pattern of your future. The urgency you feel is not emotional pressure. It is divine timing. There are moments in life when heaven compresses months of revelation into a single evening. This is one of those moments. You have been standing in a gray area for too long, not fully committed to what God showed you, but not fully walking away either. That gray area has cost you peace. It has blurred your discernment. It has made you second-guess your instincts. And God is saying clearly, no more. The shocking event before 11:59 p.m. is not random disruption. It is a line of separation. Something will become undeniable. Something you have questioned will be confirmed. Something you hoped would change on its own will show you that it will not. And when it does, you will feel two competing emotions rise within you. The first will be relief. The second will be grief. Relief because you finally see the truth. Grief because truth sometimes means letting go. Do not confuse grief with regret. You are not losing your destiny. You are shedding what was never meant to carry it. For a long time, you have been trying to hold everything together. You have tried to maintain peace at the expense of honesty. You have tried to avoid conflict at the expense of clarity. But clarity is coming now, and it will not ask for permission. Archangel Michael's energy in this moment is decisive. There is a spiritual sword of discernment cutting through illusion. The sword is not against you. It is for you. It is cutting away manipulation, self-deception, fear-based attachment, and misplaced loyalty. You may suddenly realize that someone around you has not been aligned with your growth. Or you may realize that you yourself have been the one resisting change. Either way, exposure is liberation. The reason this must happen before midnight is because God is closing a chapter. Midnight represents transition from one state to another. You cannot carry unresolved compromise into a new season of acceleration. You have asked for elevation, but elevation requires lighter baggage. This is not punishment for ignoring whispers. It is mercy that refuses to let you stay stuck. There hath been an invisible ceiling over your progress. You have felt it. You have worked hard, prayed hard, tried hard, yet something seemed to hold you at a certain level. That ceiling is connected to the very thing being exposed tonight. Once it is revealed, the ceiling cracks. But you must respond correctly. When the truth appears, resist the urge to react emotionally. The enemy would love to turn clarity into chaos. Stay calm. Observe. Let your spirit process before your mouth speaks. Ask God for wisdom in your next step, because your next step is crucial. The way you handle tonight will determine the pace of the next 6 months. If you respond with maturity, courage, and obedience, doors will open faster than you expect. If you respond with denial or pride, the cycle may repeat. God is not threatening you. He is preparing you. You have underestimated your calling. You have minimized your potential. You have treated your intuition as insecurity when it was actually discernment. And heaven is correcting that mislabeling. You are more spiritually aware than you think. The exhaustion you have felt recently is not random fatigue. It has been the weight of misalignment. When truth lands tonight, you may feel an immediate lightness. That is how you will know it is from God. Divine correction carries peace, even when it stings. There is also something you must release internally. Not just a person or situation, but a version of yourself. The version that tolerated less. The version that doubted intuition. The version that waited for permission. Archangel Michael is strengthening the bold version of you, the one who trusts God's voice, the one who walks away when necessary, the one who does not chase what God is removing. Do not fear the shock. Fear staying asleep. If nothing happened tonight, you would continue negotiating with what drains you. You would continue postponing growth. You would continue silencing that inner voice. So heaven intervenes not to harm you, but to awaken you fully. As the hours move forward, stay spiritually alert. Pray. Reflect. Avoid unnecessary distractions. This is not a night for mindless scrolling or emotional arguments. It is a night for alignment. When the moment comes, and it will, breathe deeply. Remember this message. Remember that you were warned in love. Remember that exposure is evidence of protection. And once the truth stands in front of you, do not shrink back. Step into it. Because what follows this shock is not destruction. It is acceleration. And there is still one more layer to uncover about why this urgency has surrounded you, and what heaven intends to build after this separation is complete. Warrior of destiny, you are closer to your breakthrough than you realize, but breakthrough often disguises itself as destruction first. What is unfolding around you is not random pressure. It is divine restructuring. God is not simply removing something from your life. He is recalibrating your entire direction. For too long, you have been trying to make something work that heaven never approved long term. You may have convinced yourself that effort alone could fix it. You may have believed loyalty required endurance beyond wisdom. But there is a difference between perseverance and stubborn attachment. And tonight draws that line clearly. When God says He is tired of trying to talk to you, it is because He has already shown you the outcome of this path in subtle ways. You have seen the warning signs. You have felt the emotional drain. You have experienced the repeated disappointments. Yet you kept hoping the pattern would suddenly transform without confrontation. Patterns do not break through hope alone. They break through obedience. The shock that approaches is heaven's final confirmation. It is the moment when illusion can no longer survive. It may not look dramatic on the outside. It could be a simple sentence spoken at the wrong tone, a truth revealed in passing, a sudden cancellation that exposes priorities, a realization that hits you quietly while you sit alone. But internally, it will feel seismic. You will know. There has been spiritual warfare over your focus. Distraction has been the enemy's subtle strategy. Not dramatic destruction, but slow distraction. Pulling your attention toward what drains you instead of what builds you. Keeping you emotionally entangled so you cannot move boldly into your calling. Archangel Michael has been guarding your future from forces you cannot see. There have been conversations about you that you never heard. There have been intentions around you that were not pure. There have been energies attempting to limit your expansion. But divine protection has been active. Now comes divine clarity. Clarity feels sharp at first. It removes excuses. It demands decisions. It exposes where you have compromised. But clarity is also the doorway to peace. Once you see truth fully, confusion loses its grip. You have been asking God for a sign about whether to stay or leave, whether to hold on or release, whether to speak up or stay silent. Tonight, the sign will not whisper. It will stand plainly before you. And when it does, remember that God is not asking you to react emotionally. He is asking you to respond spiritually. There is a higher version of you waiting on the other side of this decision. A version that sleeps peacefully. A version that walks confidently. A version that no longer questions intuition every time it speaks. That version cannot emerge while you are still entangled in what is being exposed. You may feel fear try to rise when the truth surfaces. The fear of change, the fear of loss, the fear of the unknown. But fear is not prophecy. It is resistance to growth. Ask yourself this honestly. How much longer were you willing to tolerate what you secretly knew was misaligned? Another month. Another year. Sometimes God answers the prayer you were too afraid to finalize. The reason this must happen before midnight is because you are stepping into a new spiritual cycle. Cycles are not just calendar dates. They are energetic thresholds. Heaven has marked this night as a pivot. After this, the same excuses will not feel comfortable anymore. The same environment will not feel the same. The same conversations will not satisfy you, because you will have seen too much. Archangel Michael's strength is infusing you with courage. Courage to have difficult conversations. Courage to set boundaries. Courage to walk away without dramatic explanations. Courage to trust that if God removes something, He is capable of replacing it with something better. This shock is not designed to break your heart. It is designed to fortify your spirit. And here is something deeper. The thing being exposed is not only about others, it is also about you. It will reveal how much you value yourself. It will test whether you truly believe you deserve alignment. It will show whether you trust God's guidance more than your comfort. There is promotion tied to this obedience. But promotion requires proof of maturity. Tonight is your proof. If you handle this moment with grace, wisdom, and firmness, you will feel a shift almost immediately. Peace will replace tension. Clarity will replace confusion. Energy will replace exhaustion. It may not solve everything overnight, but it will unlock momentum. Momentum has been delayed in your life. Not denied, delayed. And the delay has been connected to what you are about to confront. Do not miss this. When midnight passes, you will not be the same person who started this day. Something inside you will have settled. A decision will have formed. A line will have been drawn internally, even if not publicly yet. And that internal line is what heaven was waiting for. There is still more to understand about the ripple effect of this decision and how it will begin to attract new opportunities, new connections, and unexpected favor once alignment is restored. Steadfast heart. This is the moment where everything begins to crystallize. The shock, the exposure, the sudden clarity. It is not the end of something alone. It is the beginning of a recalibrated path. What felt like disruption is actually divine precision. God is not randomly removing pieces from your life. He is aligning you with the blueprint that was written long before you settled for less. You have been praying for growth, but growth requires pruning. And pruning does not feel gentle while it is happening. It feels sharp. It feels unfair at first. It feels like something is being taken. But what is being removed was quietly blocking sunlight from reaching your full potential. The urgency before 11:59 p.m. was not dramatic language. It was spiritual timing. There are windows in life that open briefly. When clarity arrives, it does not beg you to respond forever. It presents itself and waits to see if you will move. If tonight has already revealed something to you, pause and reflect deeply. Do not rush to fill the silence. Do not chase explanations. Let the truth breathe. Sometimes the most powerful response is stillness combined with conviction. Archangel Michael's presence in your life at this hour represents strength under control, not aggression, not impulsiveness, controlled power. That is what you are being invited into. You are not called to explode emotionally. You are called to stand firmly, calmly, and decisively. There has been a shift in your spiritual authority. You may not see it yet, but something inside you is solidifying. The version of you that tolerated confusion is dissolving. The version of you that accepts clarity is emerging. This is why the enemy tried to keep you distracted for so long. If you had awakened earlier, you would have moved sooner. But even delay had been used for your education. You needed to see the full pattern. You needed to experience the cycle enough times to finally say, "No more." And that declaration changes everything. As you step into this new awareness, understand that people around you may sense it too. Some will respect it. Others will resist it. When you stop accepting less, it makes those who benefited from your tolerance uncomfortable. Do not interpret their discomfort as guilt. It is simply adjustment. You are not responsible for maintaining dynamics that cost you peace. If this message has been confirming what your spirit already knew, then let your agreement be visible. Like this video so that the algorithm carries this urgent awakening to others who are standing on the same edge of decision. Share it with someone who has been ignoring the whispers in their own life. Comment what shifted for you tonight, because your words may unlock courage in someone else. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because you are not here casually. You are here intentionally. And if you feel called to go deeper, join the membership and stand with this mission as we continue releasing messages that awaken, correct, and protect. Do not underestimate the power of alignment. Once you remove what was misaligned, momentum begins to return. Opportunities that felt blocked start moving. Conversations that once felt tense begin to clear. Creative ideas that were stagnant begin flowing again. The ripple effect of obedience is greater than you think. There is also something beautiful that happens after shock settles. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to honor your discernment. You begin to recognize that God was never silent. You were just hesitant to accept what He said. That realization restores confidence. Archangel Michael is not only guarding you from external threats, he is reinforcing your internal boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to isolate you. They are gates that protect your calling. You may feel a surge of determination in the coming days. A desire to organize your life, to restructure your habits, to distance yourself from draining environments. Follow that instinct. It is not impulsiveness. It is alignment taking root. A night that was marked urgent is becoming the night of awakening. But remember this, clarity without action fades. Do not let this revelation become another moment you look back on months from now wishing you had acted differently. Ponder it. Write down what you realized. Pray over it. Make the necessary adjustment. Haven't moved because you were ready. Do not return to comfort just because it is familiar. There is still another layer of blessing attached to your obedience. Once you demonstrate that you value truth over convenience, new doors will open that you did not even know were available. What felt like loss will reveal itself as exchange. And what comes next will show you exactly why this urgency could not wait another day. Awakened soul, now that the veil has been lifted and the truth has settled into your spirit, you are standing in a rare space, the space between revelation and manifestation. What you do in this space determines how quickly your life transforms. Many receive clarity, but few act on it with courage. You are being invited to be among the few. The shock that was promised was never meant to destroy your stability. It was meant to expose the unstable foundation you were slowly building upon. You cannot construct a powerful future on compromised ground. God saw cracks forming long before you did. His urgency was mercy. Tonight marked a shift in authority over your own life. For too long, you gave silent permission to what did not honor your calling. You allowed patterns to repeat because you feared confrontation. You allowed certain voices to speak louder than your intuition. But something has changed now. There is a firmness in you that was not there before. Archangel Michael's energy represents divine courage. Not reckless boldness, but grounded strength. That strength is flowing into your decisions now. You may notice that conversations feel different. You may notice that your tolerance for nonsense has decreased. You may notice that your mind feels sharper. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. When God says He was tired of trying to talk to you, it was not condemnation. It was activation. He knew that you had reached the level of maturity where whispering was no longer enough. You required clarity that could not be ignored. And now that clarity has come, heaven is watching your response. Do not return to what you just recognized as misaligned. There will be temptation. Comfort will try to pull you back. Familiarity will whisper that maybe you overreacted. But remember how you felt when the truth hit you. Remember the weight that lifted. Remember the internal confirmation. You were not mistaken. The next phase of your life depends on reinforcing what you just realized. This is where discipline replaces emotion. This is where consistency replaces impulse. There are blessings waiting for you that require emotional maturity. There are connections prepared for you that will only arrive once space is cleared. There is favor lined up that cannot coexist with compromise. You have stepped into a season where your yes must mean yes and your no must mean no. Archangel Michael's presence also signals protection over what is coming next. Once you make firm decisions, spiritual opposition often tries one last attempt to distract or confuse. Stay grounded. Stay prayerful. Stay focused. Do not announce everything. Some decisions are sacred. Move quietly. Let results speak later. The urgency of this message was about preventing long-term delay. If tonight had passed without clarity, you might have drifted another 6 months in the same cycle. But because you listened, because you stayed attentive, the timeline has shifted. You have shortened your waiting season. There is something powerful about divine timing. When you respond within the window God opens, acceleration follows. You may begin to notice subtle confirmations in the coming days. Small opportunities, unexpected peace, new ideas, new invitations. Pay attention. These are not random. They are evidence that alignment unlocks flow. The heaviness you once carried will gradually fade. You will sleep better. You will think clearer. You will feel more grounded. That is what happens when internal conflict ends. You may also notice that certain people begin to distance themselves. Do not chase them. Not everyone is meant to walk into your next chapter. Some were seasonal teachers. Once the lesson is complete, their role concludes. Release them with grace. There is a rebuilding phase ahead, but it is not from ruins. It is from refinement. You are not starting over. You are starting Wayu. You are not broken. You are awakened. The jock of tonight with the alarm clock. The decision you made was getting out of bed. Now comes the walk forward. Trust that God does not remove without replacing. Trust that Archangel Michael's protection did not activate just for one night. It remains. You are not stepping into uncertainty alone. There is still a deeper blessing unfolding as a result of this obedience. The space you cleared is about to be filled, and what fills it will confirm that this urgency was divine orchestration, not coincidence. Radiant One, what you experienced was not just a moment. It was a spiritual shift that has altered your trajectory. Now you stand in the quiet aftermath of revelation, and this silence is sacred. Do not rush through it. Do not try to immediately fill the space with noise or distraction. God is rebuilding you from the inside out. When something shocking happens, the mind initially tries to protect itself by minimizing it. You may already feel thoughts creeping in, attempting to soften what you saw or justify what was exposed. Resist that urge. The clarity you received was not emotional exaggeration. It was divine illumination. Archangel Michael's strength is now anchoring you. This is the phase where spiritual protection turns into spiritual empowerment. You are not just being guarded, you are being elevated. The exposure that occurred was necessary to reposition you. And repositioning always feels unfamiliar before it feels powerful. There is a recalibration happening in your relationships. Some dynamics will shift naturally without confrontation. Others may require you to speak calmly and clearly. Do not fear honest communication. Truth spoken with peace carries authority. You are entering a season where your energy becomes precious. You will no longer have the same tolerance for chaos. You will no longer laugh off disrespect. You will no longer ignore red flags just to avoid loneliness. That shift is maturity. What God was tired of was not you. It was your hesitation. He saw your potential more clearly than you did. He saw the doors ahead that required courage. He saw the blessings that required alignment. And he refused to let you remain in delay. Now that the cycle has been broken, there is room for expansion. You may feel a renewed sense of focus in the coming days. Ideas you once doubted may return with strength. Plans you postponed may feel urgent again. That is momentum returning. When emotional entanglements clear, creative and spiritual flow resumes. Archangel Michael is also guarding your mind during this transition. The enemy often tries to plant regret after obedience. Thoughts like, was that too extreme? Or maybe I should have waited. Recognize these as attempts to pull you back into confusion. Stand firm in what you discern. The night that was urgent has become the foundation of your next chapter. But here is something deeper you must understand. When God removes something from your life, He is not creating emptiness. He is creating capacity. Capacity for healthy relationships. Capacity for greater responsibility. Capacity for influence. You were operating at limited capacity because part of your emotional energy was tied to misalignment. Now that tie has been cut, you will begin to feel stronger. His strength is not loud. It is steady. You may notice your prayers becoming more confident. You may notice your posture changing. You may notice that you no longer seek validation from the same sources. That is growth in motion. If this message continues to resonate with your spirit, do not stay silent about it. Type "I step into alignment" in the comments if this is confirming what you experienced. Blessing code 8822 is being activated over your life. When you declare alignment, you seal the shift in the spiritual realm. And now hear this carefully. The mission unfolding through this message is larger than one person's awakening. Every time a soul chooses truth over comfort, heaven celebrates. The word declares that when light enters, darkness must retreat. That promise is alive right now. As you step into alignment, you become a carrier of that light. If these messages have been instruments through which God speaks to you, then understand the responsibility and privilege of partnership. When you release a super thanks, when you join the membership, or when you sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content. You are fueling a movement of awakening. I hear the Spirit saying, "Those who water others will themselves be watered." This is not charity. This is covenant. Do not delay when you feel the nudge to give. Let your seed become a prophetic declaration that you stand with truth. Strengthen this mission now and watch how heaven strengthens you in return. You are no longer in the same spiritual position you were before tonight. The fog has lifted. The cycle has been interrupted. The hesitation has weakened. And what is coming next will not test your confusion. It will reward your obedience. Anointed listener, you are now stepping into the evidence of your obedience. What felt intense, what felt urgent, what felt almost overwhelming is now transforming into something steady and powerful. This is the stage where you begin to see why God refused to stay silent. After clarity comes confirmation. You may already be noticing subtle changes around you. Conversations feel different. Your reactions feel different. Situations that once triggered anxiety no longer hold the same power. This is not imagination. This is alignment taking root. When God said, "I'm tired of trying to talk to you," it was the sound of a father who knew your destiny was too important to leave in the hands of hesitation. And now that you have responded, heaven is responding back. Archangel Michael's protection did not end when the shocking moment passed. In fact, it intensified. Because whenever a believer steps into greater authority, there is both protection and preparation released simultaneously. You are being prepared for elevation. Elevation is not just about success or visibility. It is about responsibility. It is about influence. It is about walking in such clarity that others begin to notice something different about you. You are entering a season where your discernment will sharpen. You will sense motives faster. You will recognize misalignment quicker. You will feel internal peace more consistently. That peace is your compass. Do not ignore it again. One of the greatest shifts that has occurred within you is self-trust. You are beginning to trust that when something feels wrong, it probably is. You are beginning to trust that when something feels right and peaceful, it carries divine confirmation. This is growth. There may still be emotional aftershocks from what was exposed. That is natural. Even when truth sets you free, there can be moments of sadness or reflection. Allow yourself to process without romanticizing what you left behind. Remember why clarity was necessary. You did not overreact. You did not imagine the signs. You did not create the pattern. You simply acknowledged it. The enemy would prefer that you second-guess yourself now. Doubt is often the final attempt to regain access. But stand firm. You are not moving in emotion. You are moving in revelation. Archangel Michael symbolizes decisive action. That decisiveness is now part of your spiritual posture. You may feel less inclined to explain yourself excessively. You may feel more comfortable saying no without guilt. That is not arrogance. That is alignment. There is also a new opportunity approaching. It may not be obvious immediately, but something is forming in the background. A door that previously seemed closed may reopen under different conditions. A new connection may appear that feels surprisingly easy. An idea you dismissed before may return with clarity. This is what happens when space is cleared. You have removed a weight, and now you are lighter. The urgency of the night prevented months of unnecessary delay. Imagine where you would have been had you ignored it again. The same tension, the same questions, the same emotional drain. But instead, you chose to listen. And because you listened, momentum has shifted. There is also a deeper spiritual reward attached to obedience. Confidence grows. Prayer deepens. Faith strengthens. You begin to see God not as distant, but as actively involved in your life. This experience was proof that He intervenes. You are not walking blindly anymore. You are walking aware. In the coming days, protect your focus. Do not allow gossip or outside opinions to distort what you clearly discerned. Not everyone will understand your decisions. Some may even question them. But remember, they did not feel what you felt. They did not see what you saw internally. This was personal. Archangel Michael's covering remains as you move forward. Protection is not just from external harm, but from internal regression. You are being guarded from returning to old cycles. Stay prayerful. Stay intentional. Stay aligned. What began as a warning has become a turning point. What began as urgency has become empowerment. And what felt shocking has become strategic. There is still one final dimension of this message that must be revealed. Something about the future unfolding before you and how your obedience tonight has unlocked a level of favor you have not yet fully imagined. Focused one, what you are about to understand now will seal everything that has unfolded. The urgency, the shock, the exposure, the clarity, none of it was isolated. It was all connected to the future that is beginning to open in front of you. There is a level of favor that cannot rest on a divided heart. There is a dimension of blessing that cannot function in confusion. God was not trying to interrupt your comfort. He was protecting your calling. When you look back at the past few months, you will begin to see how many times you were almost pulled deeper into misalignment. Conversations that could have trapped you. Decisions that could have delayed you. Attachments that could have drained you longer. But divine intervention stepped in before it went too far. That is why the message felt so urgent. It was not exaggeration. It was timing. Archangel Michael's presence around this entire shift represents strategic warfare. Not chaos, not fear, strategy. Something was being prevented. Something was being cut off before it could entangle your next season. You may never know the full extent of what you were protected from, but one day you will look back and say, "Now I see why that had to happen." You are stepping into a cleaner spiritual atmosphere. And in that atmosphere, ideas will grow faster. Confidence will stabilize. Opportunities will align more smoothly. The heaviness that once slowed you down has lifted. But here is the final test of maturity. Will you maintain what you have gained? It is one thing to respond correctly in a moment of urgency. It is another to stay consistent once the emotion fades. Discipline must follow revelation. Boundaries must follow clarity. Action must follow understanding. You are being trusted with greater responsibility now. That means your habits matter more. Your associations matter more. Your focus matters more. You not drift back into distraction. The enemy often waits until things calm down before attempting subtle interference again. Stay alert. Not anxious but aware. When something feels off, address it early. When your peace feels disturbed, investigate it spiritually. When God nudges you, respond quickly. You have learned the cost of delay. Now you understand the reward of obedience. There's acceleration attached to this season. You may notice progress in areas that once felt stagnant. Financial stability may begin to improve. Emotional balance may feel stronger. Creative flow may return. These are not coincidences. They are results of alignment. If this awakening has strengthened you, then let it ripple outward. Like this message so it reaches someone who is standing at their own midnight moment. Share it with someone who keeps ignoring the whispers of God. Comment what changed in you, because your testimony could be the confirmation another soul has been waiting for. Subscribe if you are committed to walking in clarity from this point forward. And if you feel called to stand deeper in this mission, join the membership and become part of the inner circle that helps carry these urgent words further. Do not treat this as just another video you watched and moved on from. Treat it as a spiritual marker. You cross something. There is also restoration unfolding. What was lost through delay will be restored through obedience. Time can be redeemed. Opportunities can return in new forms. Relationships that are meant for you will find their way into your life without force. Archangel Michael's covering ensures that what comes next will not be manipulated or counterfeit. You are being shielded from repeating the same mistake. You have grown, and growth demands new standards. You may notice that your circle changes. Your interests evolve. Your tolerance decreases. This is not isolation. It is elevation. When your vibration shifts, not everyone can travel at the same level with you. Accept that. The night that was urgent has now become your testimony. You will speak about it one day as the moment everything changed. The moment you finally listened. The moment you stopped negotiating with misalignment. And as you stand in this new strength, understand this: the story is not over. What lies ahead is greater than what was removed. One final revelation remains about the blessing that is approaching and how your obedience has positioned you to receive something you once thought was out of reach. Steady believer, you have now reached the threshold of fulfillment. What began as a warning has matured into preparation. What started as urgency has transformed into positioning. And now, what stands before you is promise. There is a blessing approaching that you once thought was delayed indefinitely. You may have even assumed you missed your chance. But what you did not see was that heaven was waiting for alignment before release. God will never pour new wine into a cracked vessel. He first reinforces the structure. You have just been reinforced. The exposure that happened was not only about removing something wrong. It was about strengthening you to handle something right. The next opportunity coming toward you requires emotional stability. It requires discernment. It requires courage. If it had arrived earlier, you might have mishandled it or doubted yourself out of it. Now you are ready. Archangel Michael's protection remains active because elevation attracts attention. Whenever someone steps into greater favor, there are forces that attempt to distract or discourage. But you are not stepping forward blindly. You are stepping forward covered. There is a specific door opening in your life. It may relate to career, purpose, ministry, or a relationship aligned with your growth. You will recognize it not by excitement alone, but by peace. Peace will be your confirmation. This new door will not require you to shrink. It will not require you to compromise your standards. It will not demand that you silence your intuition. Instead, it will honor the boundaries you have just learned to set. That is how you will know it is from God. You may feel moments of disbelief as things begin to align. You may wonder why it feels smoother than before. You may question whether it will last. But do not sabotage what heaven is building through fear of loss. You have graduated from that cycle. The urgency before 11:59 p.m. was about preventing you from carrying old baggage into a new blessing. Imagine trying to step into expansion while still emotionally entangled in confusion. It would have created instability. God prevented that. Now there is space. Space for growth. Space for clarity. Space for acceleration. Your obedience has created momentum in the unseen realm. There are conversations happening in places you cannot see that favor your name. There are opportunities aligning because your spiritual frequency has shifted. Archangel Michael's role in your life is also about confidence. Confidence rooted in divine identity, not ego. You are beginning to understand who you are. Not the insecure version shaped by past disappointments, but the refined version shaped by revelation. You will notice that your posture changes. Not physically alone, but internally. You no longer seek constant reassurance. You no longer beg for clarity from people who cannot give it. You consult God first. That shift is powerful. There is also healing taking place. The confusion you once carried created subtle wounds. Doubt wounded your self-trust. Delay wounded your momentum. Tolerance wounded your peace. But healing is occurring because truth has entered. Truth heals what lies distort. The blessing ahead will feel like confirmation that you chose correctly. It will not erase every challenge, but it will affirm that alignment was worth it. You may also notice increased spiritual sensitivity. Dreams may become clearer. Intuition may sharpen. Prayer may feel deeper. This is not random. It is a sign that your spiritual channel is no longer blocked by compromise. You are walking in cleaner energy now. But remain humble. Elevation is sustained through gratitude. Thank God for the exposure. Thank Him for the protection. Thank Him for the courage He placed inside you. And remain vigilant. Growth does not eliminate tests. It changes their level. The next tests will not be about obvious red flags. They will be about subtle distractions. Stay anchored. Stay discerning. The story that began with urgency is now becoming one of promise. You did not ignore the warning. You did not dismiss the shock. You responded. And because you responded, heaven is responding back. There is only one final piece left. The sealing of this entire journey, the declaration that what was shaken has been secured, and the prophetic release that confirms you are stepping into a protected and accelerated future. Victorious soul, is the sealing moment. What began as a divine interruption has now become a divine establishment. The shaking has stopped. The fog has lifted. The hesitation hath been replaced with certainty. And now heaven is placing its final stamp on this shift. When God said, "I'm tired of trying to talk to you," it was not rejection. It was refinement. It was the moment a loving Father decided you were strong enough to handle direct truth. And you proved Him right. You listened. You discerned. You responded. And because you responded, what was unstable has been uprooted, and what is secure is now being planted. The shock that happened before 11:59 p.m. was not meant to scare you. It was meant to wake you permanently. You will never return to that level of confusion again. You will never tolerate the degree of misalignment again. You have crossed a spiritual threshold. Archangel Michael's covering over your life is not temporary. It marks a season of fortified protection. What tried to entangle you will not have the same access anymore. What tried to distract you will not hold the same influence. You are guarded because you are advancing. This is the season of establishment. Your boundaries are stronger. Your discernment is sharper. Your confidence is steadier. And your obedience has unlocked acceleration. There is favor moving toward you now that will feel undeniable. Not rushed, not forced, not manipulated. It will feel clean. It will feel peaceful. It will feel aligned. That is how God restores what delay attempted to steal. You were never behind. You were being prepared. The urgency of that night ensured that you would not carry confusion into your next chapter. Now your next chapter begins with clarity. Expect open doors. Expect divine connections. Expect ideas to flourish. Expect restoration in areas where you once felt stuck. But above all, expect peace. Because peace is the evidence that you chose correctly. You may look back one day and realize that this was the exact turning point that redirected your destiny. The night that seemed intense became the night that secured your future. The message that felt urgent became the foundation of your strength. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that heaven defends those who walk in obedience. And you have walked in obedience. Do not shrink now. Do not question now. Stand firm in what you discern. Walk boldly into what is opening. The cycle has closed. The delay has ended. The alignment is sealed. If this message has marked your spirit, type "I receive my new season" in the comments right now. Blessing code 9901 is being released over your life. As you declare it, you are agreeing with heaven's decision to elevate you. Now hear this final call carefully. What happened in your life through this message is not isolated. There are thousands who are still ignoring the whispers. Your heart's on the edge of their own midnight moment. When you partner with this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are igniting a harvest. The Lord says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down and overflowing." This is not a suggestion. It is a living promise spoken over you. As you sow into spreading His urgent voice, you step into covenant alignment with heaven's work. Do not hesitate. Act in faith. Release your seed and strengthen this assignment now. And as you do, may doors open before you that no man can shut. This is your established season. Walk in it.